Hello, today is the first week of February. I'm really excited to come to you with some new content. I want to talk about the 5 tips that keep us Americans poor. I want to talk about that because over the course of my almost decade working with student loan borrowers, well, before they became student loan borrowers, working with students who want to go to college, and then now transitioning to advising on the student loan borrowing side. That's what LoanSense does in order to help borrowers close on a home or achieve various goals. I've noticed some repeating money habits that I think can keep us poor. And I say us because I include myself. Financial education is a learning journey for every single person. And unless these habits are instilled from a young age, it has to be learned behavior, right? And seeing that 67% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, I would say that we have a crisis in our hands in terms of being able to build our own financial well-being. So today's video, we'll talk about the 5 habits that keep us poor. And I will also want to talk about, since I love giving student loan updates, I want to talk about the Fresh Start program for borrowers who defaulted. And I want to talk about a case study in that as well, because a lot of borrowers have their student loans kind of like in limbo in the default resolution group. We've had a few borrowers we've worked with recently. So I want to talk about the Fresh Start program and what borrowers who are kind of in limbo between servicers can do. So those are the 2 topics I want to address in today's video. I will talk about the Fresh Start program and how to help if you've defaulted on your student loans at the end of this video. I'm going to start with the 5 habits that keep us as Americans poor. And I'm not saying this because I'm rich. I'm saying this because I was able to, despite having student loan debt, purchase homes. I own multiple homes. And now I'm in a position in my life, I'm 37, so it's not like I'm in my 20s. So I want to say that I've had time to really think about my money habits and how to build wealth so that I don't have to struggle when I hit retirement age or feel like I have to work because there's no other option. For me, I want work to be about my passion, what I enjoy, and not I'm forced to because I have to have a paycheck, because if I don't, I'm going to be homeless. Like, that is literally a reality for so many people, and I respect that. But there are habits that lead to this situation that I want to talk about in terms of habit building. So number 1, and it's what the IRS and the government does. They pay themselves first. When you go work for somebody, they don't wait till the end of the year to collect their taxes. The employer's required to withdraw taxes straight from your paycheck and pay the government, right? So just like the government ensures they're paid first, we need to make sure we're paid first. So the example means like if you work for someone, directly withdraw your paycheck from your paycheck, 10 and if possible 15% of your paycheck straight into a savings account that you don't spend for day-to-day expenses. Paying ourselves first is so important because people are like, well, I can't really afford to pay myself. What will happen is they'll go buy groceries, pay for childcare, pay for various things. And then at the end of the month say, oh, there's no money left over. I guess I don't pay myself. But if the mentality is switched and you pay yourself first, even if you have to withdraw from that savings account, the first initial paychecks, at least you will systematically work towards building a money habit of spending a little less so that you can keep that savings intact. Okay, that's what I recommend. Paying ourselves first. And then, of course, the second thing is understanding what our values are. What do we truly value and want to focus and prioritize our time and energy on? Like, what brings us joy in life? For me, I have a son now, he's 6 months old. And for me, the biggest joy is going and experiencing new things with him. For me, that brings such a big amount of joy. And that can literally mean going to a new park and just going to a new park and walking around and just seeing him just his expressions when he hears bird noises, like very simple little things, right? For me, he's a nature lover and he also loves to swim. So for me, he's enrolling in his first swim class starting today, actually. And that costs $45. So knowing how I'm going to budget for that extra $45 expense, but that to me, like that's a high value expense. That's an experience me and my son are going to enjoy together. And to me, that's worth it. Right. So I say, understand what you value and focus spending there, because sometimes I think like sometimes I get bored and I walk into Marshall's and I'm like, hey, this knickknack is cute. But like, what level of joy will that knickknack bring me in 2 weeks relative to the amount of joy that I'm going to have by going to swim class with my son? And the joy is small. So I like the knickknack. I like these new mugs. I like these things, but I just put it back and say, not today, right? Not today, because I'm going to spend money on these swim classes instead, right? This next 6 weeks, right? So understanding what we prioritize is my tip number 2, because if we put everything on credit, and this comes to the tangible money tip, and don't pay off the balance and just let it accumulate over time because we're not prioritizing based on our value and we're just putting it on credit and worrying about it later, that is literally making it so that we live beyond our means. And when we live beyond our means, then that's when a serious amount of debt starts accumulating, and consumer credit card debt has really high interest rates, right? So really just understanding, for me, it's not about saving, it's about spending less than you make. And I know that's really hard in these inflationary times, but I do think it's about balancing what you value versus what's just going to kind of expire in value over time, right? So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is what keeps Americans poor that I see systematically is buying large purchases that depreciate over time. So for example, a car. The minute you drive a car off the lot, it loses 10% of its value. You put the key in the ignition, you drive it off the lot, loses 10% of its value. That's a large purchase that if you use a loan to purchase that large purchase, then that purchase depreciates over time. I would question whether that should be bought on a loan. Items that depreciate over time, like a car or a knickknack that you might not value in 3 weeks, items like those are items I would question if they should be bought on credit. Something like a house that appreciates in value over time. Your education appreciates in value because now you have that degree, you can earn more money. If you start college and don't graduate, of course, that's not going to appreciate over time. So it's also how you use it. Investing in items that will appreciate over time, like for example, a gym membership that will help you stay in shape and stay fit, that will have long-term health impacts. That's an investment over time that I think appreciates, right? I also believe investing in like books and learning appreciates over time because it helps me acquire new knowledge and then I can gain more skills. That appreciates over time. That's how I analyze that, right? But items that I won't find use in a few months, or that literally loses value as soon as I bring it home, those items depreciate over time. I would question if those are items that should be bought on credit. So for example, I brought up that knickknack in Marshall's that I wanted because I thought it was a cool decorative item. Well, those are items that if I can't pay it off at the end of the month on my credit card statement, I should not be buying, because I should not be paying 24% interest to have a cool knickknack in my house, right? The same for me, like I put savings aside, I pay myself first, and I have a specific bucket that saves up for car maintenance and future car expenses. I have a bucket that saves for long-term savings for retirement. I have a bucket of like future vacations, right? Because those are experiences I want to enjoy, but I save up for that because I'm not going to take an expensive international trip on credit, right? I'm not going to fund I'll use points from credit cards, but I will not go into debt to go on a vacation, right? So those, even though I do view that as an experience, but I don't want to put that on credit. So those are some items. The fourth tip is that keeps Americans poor that we should think about is like keeping up with the Jones. So examples of keeping up with the Jones, like fast fashion. I need the latest type of shoes, or I need the latest type of outfit. If you see my YouTube videos, I like wear pretty much the same thing over and over and over because I don't want to have to think, what am I wearing in today's video? Number one. Number two is if I look good in it and I think I look good in the last video, then why not use it again? And then lastly, I don't have to want to worry about what outfit am I wearing in the video today and have to go buy another piece of clothing, you know? So having like fast fashion that rips quickly or that is kind of the latest and greatest, I like a few classic pieces. I generally will even get them secondhand, hand-me-downs, love that type of stuff. And I don't feel like I need to keep up with the Joneses. I drive a Toyota Prius. I'm not that cool. I don't want to keep up with the Joneses. In many ways, the Joneses are broke, okay? The Joneses have no money. So I don't want to keep up with the Joneses. The Joneses look great, but they are living on credit card debt and paycheck to paycheck. And I don't say that specifically to refer to a Jones, but I say that to refer to the average American. So I definitely do not want to keep up with the Joneses in terms of fashion, in terms of my car selection. Also, technology purchase. Technology comes out, renews like every so, you know, the newest Samsung, the newest iPhone, the newest whatever technology you're in, the newest, I don't know, PlayStation, Nintendo, whatever people are into, right? The upgrades are nominal, and I don't need to have the latest technology. I need something that functions, that's reliable, but I don't need the latest iPhone, right? In fact, I don't even use an iPhone. So bad example for me, but I don't need to keep up with the technology trends. I don't need to keep up with the fashion trends. I don't need to keep up with the coolest, latest car trend. I'm very interested in the idea of a Tesla, but unless I gain significant wealth and can just buy that with cash, I'm not going to be driving a Tesla. That's just not an opportunity that I have right now, right? And I'm okay with that because I rather go to swim classes and do trips with my son, you know, things like that. So I just have to pick and choose what I value, and I can't have it all. And my last tip, because this video is getting long, but I hope you found some use in the way I think about money, is, you know, when holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, things come around, the average American spends like $900, almost $1,000 on Christmas gifts. Okay. And of course, Christmas time came around just like a month or so, like a month and a half ago. And I did think about buying gifts for my sister and my family, but there's a lot of pressure to buy things, and the person may never even open the gift. They may literally have no use. Like I bought my sister like these, for example, it's sitting here because the moment she opened it, apparently it broke. So it's like, how much value? I'm spending money on something that it ends up like breaking. She's like, gave it back to me. She's like, hey, can you return this? And I was like, I'll exchange it for a new one. She's like, nah, just return it. You know? So it's like nominal value to her. And then she gave me something which I think is cool, but I have not even opened it yet. I hope she's not watching this video. Anyways, I've not even opened it because it's the coolest, like, it's the coolest, like, curler dryer for your hair. It's really cool. Mind you, it is really cool, but I am a mom. I have no fancy events to go to yet, and I have not even used it. So, like, is there something that you can give as a token of appreciation for the holidays, anniversaries, that can be an experience you do together that doesn't cost as much money? Like Valentine's Day, I want to cook my husband a meal. For example, I'm thinking about buying some lobster tails, so making it a really nice meal, but we don't need to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on each other every Valentine's, every anniversary, and still can express our appreciation. One of the best gifts my husband gave me actually was he gave me a card with 10 quotes that I had said to him that he learned the most from. And it was the cutest, literally one of, not just the cutest, but one of the best anniversary gifts I've ever received. Like, these are the 10 things that I learned the most from you that you said to me. And he literally wrote that, because he wrote them down in a notebook somewhere, and he literally brought it out and wrote it in a card. And it was just the sweetest thing, you know? And that cost him nothing. That literally cost him nothing. And so what is it that we can do for our family, our loved ones, that, so for me, for the holiday, one other example, instead of buying my sister's, she got engaged, plus it was Christmas. So instead of buying her a bunch of stuff she may not need, I literally bought her or her fiance tickets to the theater. And because that's an experience, it wasn't so outrageously expensive, because luckily they're both students, so they got student rate tickets, but it was a way to give them an experience and not have to wonder like, oh, she wants the latest, I don't know, NutriBullet or whatever on her list. And it's like, I'm going to spend how much on this? Like, what significance does buying her a NutriBullet have versus if she can come back and talk to me about this theater production? I think that's a cool experience, right? So that was something I gave birth to her and fiance that doubled as engagement and Christmas gift. That ended up being less money than a NutriBullet, and I think had a great experience for her. So those are some examples. Valentine's Day, I love to cook for my husband, something as simple as that. My son, you know, he turned 6 months the other day, and we just sang to him and just spent a lot of time with him, right? And brought him to some cool new sites. And so that's my way, our way, at least as a family. And I know there's gift giving. My best friend growing up used to like fold this beautiful origamis and give it. That's like a gift of like time and expressing appreciation. So anyways, I share those because it's a huge expense every year that Americans spend on Christmas, birthdays, and what can be done that costs less that can still mean a lot, right? So I hope that helps. Now that this video is almost 20 minutes long, I want to talk about the student loan Fresh Start a little bit. So Biden rolled out Fresh Start in April, and a lot of student loans that were in default got transferred back to the Department of Ed under this default resolution group. A borrower came to us, and so it's not at a specific servicer. The Department of Ed launched a site specifically for those in the Fresh Start program. And the site is, I'm going to pull it up right here. It's called myeddebt.ed.gov. So borrowers can go there specifically to manage their student debt because they're in limbo right now. If you've defaulted on your loans are technically in limbo. So you have to go to myeddebt.ed.gov in order to manage it. And you can enroll, the rehabilitation has been accelerated from 9 months to 2 weeks now. And borrowers can directly enroll their student loans into income-driven plans directly from the government site. I will link it below. And they can literally accelerate, like I said, rehabilitation from 9 months to 2 weeks by going through that process. Additionally, so if you don't want to make a student loan payment, you can wait until August when we're kicked into repayment. But if you're trying to buy a house and you actually need to be in repayment, then you need to go ahead and accelerate that process. It'll take 2 weeks at myeddebt.ed.gov. I want to mention that. Lastly, any defaulted student loans or late payments that ended up in default should be removed from the credit. And you should also be removed from the KVR system if you are trying to go for an FHA mortgage. If you have any questions about how to manage your student loan debt, we help borrowers in good standing, in default, whatever your situation is. The government also launched a new site for borrower defense. So if you went to the 153 for-profit schools that are now in the borrower defense list, we can help you get more information about that as well. And if you're just in good standing and want help to strategize on how you're going to manage your student debt before we get into repayment, we're here as well. So I hope those tips were helpful with some of my examples. Let me know if you have any questions below. And we are in standby to help. Again, you can get a completely free student loan plan at myloansense.com. We look forward to being of service. I hope you have a great rest of the week.